The tragic and harrowing story of Bobbie Jo Stinnett is one that continues to resonate deeply within the collective memory of those who have followed this disturbing case. In a shocking turn of events, this young woman, who was just 23 years old and pregnant at the time, became the victim of a brutal murder that not only claimed her life but also raised unsettling questions about identity theft and the dark corners of human behavior. On December 16, 2004, in the quiet town of Skidmore, Missouri, Bobbie Jo was found in her home, having suffered a violent attack that would ultimately take her life. What made this case all the more chilling was the motive behind the heinous act. The assailant sought to steal Bobbie Jo's unborn child. This horrifying crime highlighted the lengths to which some individuals would go to fulfill their own twisted desires, leading to a sense of disbelief and horror in the community and beyond. The investigation that followed was both complex and deeply unsettling. Law enforcement officials worked tirelessly to piece together the events leading up to the murder, unraveling a web of deceit and betrayal that revealed the true nature of the perpetrator. The case ultimately brought to light the significant issue of identity theft, as the murderer, Lisa Montgomery, had posed as a fellow expectant mother in an online community, establishing a false identity in order to gain Bobbie Jo's trust. Montgomery's motivations were deeply rooted in her own troubled past, marked by a history of abuse and mental illness. This background, while providing some context to her actions, did little to mitigate the horror of her crime. The lengths she went to in order to execute her plan were both chilling and heartbreaking, as they underscored the fragility of life and the vulnerabilities that can be exploited by those with malicious intent. The aftermath of Bobbie Jo Stinnett's murder left an indelible mark on her family and the community at large. Her untimely death prompted discussions about the safety of expectant mothers and raised awareness about the potential dangers lurking in online interactions. It also sparked a broader conversation about mental health issues and the need for better support systems for individuals struggling with trauma and psychological distress. In conclusion, the murder of Bobbie Jo Stinnett serves as a haunting reminder of the darker aspects of human nature and the devastating consequences that can arise from stolen identity and unchecked impulses. Her story is one of tragedy and loss, but it also stands as a call to action for society to take a closer look at the complexities of identity, trust, and the need for compassion in an increasingly fractured world. The murder of Bobbie Jo Stinnett is not merely a tale of violence. It is a poignant reminder of the vulnerabilities that exist within our society, particularly in the context of online interactions. The trust that Bobbie Jo extended to someone she believed to be a kindred spirit was met with betrayal in the most horrific way. This crime underscored the importance of awareness and caution in a digital age where anonymity can mask true intentions. In the wake of Bobbie Jo's death, her family and friends were left grappling with an unimaginable loss. They remembered her as a vibrant and loving person, full of dreams for her future and that of her unborn child. The community came together to mourn her passing, holding vigils and memorials that reflected their collective sorrow and outrage. Bobbie Jo's story resonated far beyond the borders of Skidmore, igniting a national conversation about the safety of women, particularly those who are pregnant, and the potential dangers that lurk online. The case against Lisa Montgomery was equally complex and tragic. As the first woman to be executed in the United States in nearly a century, her trial drew significant media attention and sparked debates about mental health, justice, and the death penalty. Montgomery's defense team argued that her actions were the result of severe psychological trauma stemming from years of abuse and neglect, including being sexually assaulted as a child. While this background provided insight into her disturbed psyche, many felt it did not absolve her of responsibility for her actions. The legal proceedings that followed Bobbie Jo's murder were fraught with emotion. The trial revealed the gruesome details of the crime, which were difficult for the community and the nation to process. Witnesses described the horror of the scene, and the impact of the crime rippled through the lives of those who knew Bobbie Jo. Her family was left to navigate the aftermath of their loss while seeking justice for the brutal act that had taken their daughter and sister. As the years passed, Bobbie Jo's story continued to serve as a catalyst for discussions about personal safety, particularly for women in vulnerable situations. Organizations focused on domestic violence and mental health awareness emerged in response to the needs highlighted by this case. Advocates called for improved resources for victims of abuse and better education on the risks associated with online interactions. The tragedy of Bobbie Jo Stinnett became a rallying point for many, emphasizing the need for societal change to protect those most at risk. In remembering Bobbie Jo, it is essential to honor her legacy by fostering discussions about mental health, the importance of community support, and the significance of safeguarding personal information in an increasingly digital world. Her life, though tragically cut short, serves as a poignant reminder of the need for compassion, understanding, and vigilance in our interactions with others.
Ultimately, the murder of Bobbie Jo Stinnett is a multifaceted story that transcends the details of the crime itself. It encapsulates the fragility of life, the complexities of human behavior, and the profound impact that one individual's actions can have on an entire community. As we reflect on her story, we are urged to confront the realities of violence and identity theft, to advocate for the vulnerable, and to create a society where trust can flourish rather than be exploited. The murder of Bobbie Jo Stinnett is a multifaceted story that transcends the details of the crime itself. It encapsulates the fragility of life, the complexities of human behavior, and the profound impact that one individual's actions can have on an entire community. As we reflect on her story, we are urged to confront the realities of violence and identity theft, to advocate for the vulnerable, and to create a society where trust can flourish rather than be exploited. In the years following the tragedy, Bobbie Jo's story has been featured in various media outlets, documentaries, and true crime narratives, serving as a stark reminder of the potential dangers that exist in our interconnected world. These portrayals emphasize not only the brutality of the crime, but also the personal stories of those left behind. Family members, friends, and advocates have shared their memories of Bobbie Jo, painting a picture of a young woman who was full of life and had so much to look forward to. Each retelling of her story is an invitation to remember her not just as a victim, but as a beloved daughter, a sister, and a friend. The community of Skidmore, which had been rocked to its core by the violence of that fateful day, also took steps to heal and to honor Bobbie Jo's memory. Local initiatives aimed at improving community safety and supporting mental health services began to emerge. Schools incorporated discussions about personal safety and awareness into their curricula, ensuring that the lessons learned from this tragedy would not fade with time. Bobbie Jo's story became a teaching tool, a cautionary tale that encouraged vigilance and empathy in the face of potential threats. Moreover, Bobbie Jo's case prompted legal discussions regarding the treatment of women and the societal implications of gender-based violence. As her story gained national attention, it became a critical part of the broader dialogue surrounding women's rights and safety. Activists and organizations focused on protecting women from violence rallied around her memory, using her story to advocate for legislative changes that would strengthen protections for victims of domestic violence and stalking. In the context of mental health, the case of Lisa Montgomery also sparked important conversations. While many were horrified by her actions, there was a growing recognition of the need for mental health resources and support for individuals who have experienced trauma. Advocates for mental health reform highlighted the importance of addressing the root causes of such violence rather than simply punishing the perpetrators. This perspective emphasized the need for a compassionate approach to mental health, one that acknowledges the complexities of human behavior and the impact of trauma on individuals. As society grapples with the implications of Bobbie Jo's murder, it is crucial to remember that her life was not defined solely by her tragic end. Rather, it serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of community, compassion, and vigilance in the face of adversity. By honoring her memory and advocating for change, we can work towards a world where individuals are safe, supported, and valued, and where such tragedies become increasingly rare. Ultimately, the legacy of Bobbie Jo Stinnett is one of resilience in the face of darkness. Her story urges us to confront uncomfortable truths about violence, identity, and the potential for betrayal in our relationships. As we continue to reflect on her life and the circumstances surrounding her death, let us strive to create a society that prioritizes safety, understanding, and compassion for all, ensuring that the lessons learned from her tragedy resonate for generations to come. The murder of Bobbie Jo Stinnett is a haunting narrative that continues to reverberate through discussions about safety, trust, and the complexities of human relationships. As we delve deeper into the implications of her story, we recognize that it serves as more than just a cautionary tale. It is a call to action for individuals and communities alike to foster a culture of awareness and support. In the aftermath of the tragedy, Bobbie Jo's family became advocates for change, channeling their grief into efforts to raise awareness about the dangers of online interactions. They participated in community events, sharing their story to educate others about the potential risks that can come with trusting strangers in the digital age. Their bravery in speaking out not only honored Bobbie Jo's memory but also empowered others to take proactive measures in protecting themselves and their loved ones. The case also highlighted the importance of mental health support, particularly for individuals who have experienced trauma. Many advocates begin to emphasize the need for early intervention and accessible mental health resources, arguing that addressing mental health issues could prevent similar tragedies from occurring in the future. This perspective encouraged a shift in how society views mental illness not as a stigma, but as a critical aspect of overall health that requires attention and care. Furthermore, the impact of Bobbie Jo's murder extended into the realm of legal reform. The discussions surrounding Lisa Montgomery's trial and subsequent execution reignited debates about the death penalty, particularly concerning individuals with severe mental health issues. Many argued that the justice system must take into account the complexities of a person's mental state when determining appropriate consequences for their actions. This conversation sparked a broader examination of how society addresses crime, punishment, and rehabilitation, advocating for a system that balances justice with compassion. As the years have passed, Bobbie Jo Stinnett's legacy has evolved into a multifaceted movement that encompasses advocacy for women's rights, mental health awareness, and community vigilance. Her story has inspired countless individuals to become more aware of their surroundings, to question the safety of their online interactions, and to engage in conversations about personal safety and mental health. In educational settings, Bobbie Jo's case has been used as a pivotal example in discussions about digital literacy, emphasizing the importance of teaching young people how to navigate the complexities of online relationships safely. Schools have incorporated lessons on recognizing red flags in relationships and the importance of maintaining boundaries, equipping students with the tools they need to protect themselves. As we reflect on the tragic loss of Bobbie Jo Stinnett, it is essential to recognize the resilience of those who continue to advocate for change in her name. Her story serves as a reminder that, while darkness can invade our lives in the most unexpected ways, the light of community support and advocacy can shine through, illuminating paths toward healing and prevention. Ultimately, the legacy of Bobbie Jo Stinnett is not solely defined by the violence that took her life but by the collective efforts of those who strive to ensure that her story leads to meaningful change. By embracing compassion, fostering awareness, and advocating for vulnerable populations, we can work together to create a safer world that honors Bobbie Jo's memory and protects future generations from similar tragedies. In doing so, we honor not just a life lost, but a legacy of resilience, hope, and the unwavering pursuit of justice and safety for all.